All right, good morning and welcome to the San Diego kickoff for Tax Fraud Days of Action. Local 619 and the Southwest Regional Council of Carpenters are taking part in the United Brotherhood of Carpenters Tax Fraud Days of Action. It's going on across the United States and Canada. Construction industry tax fraud costs our community millions of dollars in lost tax revenue. That tax revenue should be going to updating our schools, modernizing our infrastructure, caring for our veteran population, figuring out solutions and funding for those that are unsheltered in our community, but instead it's going to pad the profit line of criminal contractors. Construction industry tax fraud has become so prolific in our industry, it's now standard operating practices for some companies. This is intentional misclassification of workers as independent contractors and cash pay. These contractors utilize this practice to give them a competitive advantage at bid time, ensuring that their criminal enterprise will get the job and have a healthy profit margin at the end. Let's make no mistake, this is intentional criminal activity in our industry. We meet here today to shine a light on tax fraud, to give voice to our community, to the contractors who do it right, who take care of their workers and follow their civic obligations. We're here today to demand more for America's finest city, to let them know that tax fraud has no place. The exploitation of workers through tax fraud and the stealing from our community is going to stop. It's my honor today to introduce some of those on the front line, the champions who are fighting back and turning the tide against tax fraud here in San Diego. Starting off today with the chairman of the San Diego County Board of Supervisors, Nathan Fletcher, a champion for progress for workers of San Diego, a man who's never afraid to take up a fight and be a voice in our community. Supervisor Fletcher.
Thank you, Doug. And I want to extend my deepest appreciation for everyone who's here today. I will always be willing to take a stand on the side of our working class folks, our folks who go out every single day. And they make our communities work, they make our economy work, they build San Diego. And we have an obligation to make sure that they are treated fairly. If someone steals from their employer, you know the full force of the law will be there to go after them. And it should be no different if an employer steals from their employee. And when you take people's wages, and when you treat them improperly, that is the exact same action, and it is just as wrong. And we have to speak with one voice to make sure that our labor laws are being enforced and are being implemented, and we are being as aggressive in enforcing those as we are in all of the other laws that are present. And I want to thank and commend our district attorney, who has time and again stepped up and been willing to be a part of this incredibly important effort. I want to thank the United Brotherhood of Carpenters, in particular the Southwest Regional Council of Carpenters, for raising awareness, but not just raising awareness, but demanding action. Demanding that we take proactive steps to make sure that the policies we put in place match the things that we say are important. Your policies, your actions, your enforcement have to align with your values. And that's what we are here to highlight. Corrupt business practice by contractors, they hurt the workers, they rob our communities, and they ultimately increase the cost of everything else that we try to do. Tax fraud, wage theft, labor trafficking, these are problems that have been around for far too long, and it demands us to do new things to tackle them. And that is why I am fully committed to this issue of moving forward. Earlier this year, I was proud to stand with our district attorney as she launched the Workplace Justice Unit. This unit is a vital component of what we need to do moving forward, to make sure that there's teeth, to make sure that there's enforcement, to make sure that people know if you wrong a worker, there will be consequences. You will pay a price. In March, my office introduced and passed alongside the Carpenters our subcontractor transparency measure. This is requiring subcontractors working on construction projects to disclose more information about their subs. Time and again, you see a shadowy, irresponsible subcontractor, and when they start asking questions about what's happened, imagine they just disappear, they're gone. And responsible contractors will have no problem listing and disclosing the subcontractors. It's a transparency measure that by itself can help us, but we know that we need to do more. And so next month, I'll be bringing forward a board policy here at the county to create the county's first ever Office of Labor Standards and Enforcement. I announced it during the State of the County in February, and we've been working with labor leaders and other folks involved to shape the policy. This office will serve a multiple of functions. One, education and outreach to workers and businesses through partnerships with community organizations and organized labor. It'll be a place where individuals can go pose concerns about existing county contracts. If a contractor who receives funds is not living up to the commitment to make sure there's fair wages and workers are being treated the right way, this office can help take action. This office will serve as an expert on labor issues, identifying trends, gaps in services, potential policies that need to be implemented here at the county. It will lead our data collection and research relating to the advancement of labor standards in San Diego County, and will be a resource to efforts like what we're doing today. It will also work to support all of the district attorney's efforts around workplace justice, to work seamlessly in these two, on the proactive to try and stop abuse from happening, and then working closely with our district attorney when those abuses do happen, knowing her office is fully committed to these as well. So to all of the individuals out there, the employers and the contractors who do the right thing every day, we say thank you. And the days of you being put at a competitive disadvantage by following the law, those days are going to come to an end in San Diego County. And collectively, we will step up to stand with our workers, to stand with the working class, and to do better by those who make so much work. So Doug, thank you for you and for everyone who's here, for all of your workers, and we're going to continue to work to make sure folks get treated fairly. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Fletcher. The county is creating shielding policies for the workers and for the good contractors in our community. But the sword that's taking the offensive in this is our district attorney. Here in San Diego, we're fortunate to have a district attorney that doesn't just believe in a legal system, she fights to make it a justice system. And with that, our district attorney, Stephan.
Well, thank you, Doug Hicks and the Southwest Regional Council of Carpenters and all of the other great people that have joined together today. I am proud to be here today to stand with these hardworking people, folks that built San Diego County. These are the carpenters that are a part of everything beautiful that you see here in San Diego. And I want to thank Chair Nathan Fletcher, Supervisor Nathan Fletcher, for his commitment to this area, having the county be there to support the district attorney's office and our work in this area that is so integral to justice is something that is unprecedented and something that we truly appreciate and our team appreciates. So what is this about? When you hear about tax fraud and you see people here and they're holding signs about speaking up, it sounds a little bit like far away, like this is a money issue, a big corporate issue. Does it really affect our daily lives? And the reality is it does, because in our experience at the DA's office, fraudsters and criminals don't just commit crime in one area. When they are cheating in multiple areas. They are not paying their tax payroll. They're also then hiding employees. And by hiding employees from that tax payroll and not paying their taxes, they're able to commit wage theft a lot easier because they become invisible. And in addition to committing wage theft, they're not paying workers' comp insurance and medical and all of the things that working families need. So this becomes a crime in multiple areas. It is organized and it is done purposefully to basically line the pockets of those cheaters and fraudsters at the expense of working families and honest businesses, honest contractors that are trying to pay fair wages and also make sure that they follow the rules. And this is exactly why we care about this issue. The reason this event is here today is not just because San Diego has a big problem. We do have a big problem. It's been studied by San Diego State University. And it's shown that there are millions being siphoned away from where they should be, from actual workers that are working, from the system, from the tax payroll. But it also is because San Diego's fighting back. We're doing something about it. These are very tough prosecutions because they have the money because of their cheating ways to hire armies of lawyers to hide what they're doing. But we won't put up with it. We have a team that is talented and dedicated in our insurance fraud and now renamed with the Workplace Justice Unit under our leader, Sherry Thompson Taylor, who is here today, and her team. And we are committed to make sure that there is accountability. We've created a website where people can directly connect with us. And why is that? It's because workers are often afraid to speak up because of retaliation. And we want to make sure that they have the DA's office right there at their back and making sure that they are protected. And already, we barely launched this with Chair Fletcher a month ago. We already have 11 reports that we are looking at. And we have multiple cases from our labor leaders that we are looking at. So what I would say to anyone out there thinking about cheating our community through tax fraud, through wage theft, that they should think twice. We are investigating and looking at dozens of cases. We are the first to prosecute wage theft in the state and have 8 more cases that are going through the system. And we've prosecuted dozens of payroll tax fraud and intend to continually increase that number and hold contractors that are unlicensed or licensed but cheaters and fraudsters accountable. Thank you.
Thank you, DA Stephan. It's not just a civic issue. This affects our business community as well. Our next speaker, Albert Carrillo, he is the CEO of the Western Walls and Ceilings Contractors Association. He's here today to shine a light on what the impacts are physically as well as man-hours wise for the contractors who do it right, those who hold up the line and say, hey, we will follow the laws. Albert?
Thank you. So our association has been around approximately 100 years, and we have a interdependent working relationship with the unions. Our contractors employ their members, and annually in just the wall and ceiling industry in Southern California, it's about 14 million man-hours. It's significant. Our members play by the rules. They're safe, they build good quality buildings, and they give back to the community. When an unscrupulous contractor comes in, there may be times where they'll beat a bid by 30 or 40%. As an investor, as a builder, that's a lot of dollars. It's hard to look the other way. We have to stand up against this. You know, it's easy to talk about all the negative stuff that goes on with tax fraud. I think we get that. But I want everybody to understand what our members really do. They reinvest back into our communities. They invest in people. They invest in the opportunities for that young lady or that young man to grow up and be the next contractor. They invest in infrastructure. They pay for education. They give back to the communities. The unscrupulous tax evaders, those fraudsters, they take the money and keep it. It's for them. It's not for anybody else. When they cheat on the money, they're going to cheat on the building products. They're going to cheat on the processes. So it's important that we stand together. I applaud the officials here today taking a stance against this. It has negatively impacted our environment, our construction environment for years, and it's getting worse. And I want to point out that construction is not a Saturday morning TV show where you take a pallet and turn it into a chair. Construction is building buildings that we live in, that will stand for decades. You know, there's a statistic out by the Environmental Protection Agency that on average, Americans spend 93% of their lives indoors. Of that, approximately 8% is spent outdoors, probably, you know, a few percentage in cars, although that's a little higher in California. When we spend that much time indoors, I think it's incumbent that those indoors be the best they could possibly be, the safest they can be, so they stand around for a long time. Our relationship with the laborer allows for quality, highly trained, highly skilled individuals to build these buildings that we're going to spend 93% of our lives in. So again, this day is very important. It's time we all take up that torch, and as a group, let's fight this cause. Let's fight this fraud that's going on. Let's put a stop to it. Help our contractors give back. Help our contractors be successful. Help our contractors fight. Thank you.
We've heard about the civic impacts and we've heard about the business community's impacts. But one of the final things that we want to talk about today is that one of the largest impacts is to the working class people. The victims of tax fraud aren't just businesses and they aren't just our government. There's those who pay a heavy, heavy cost, and where there's smoke, there's fire. Where there's wage theft, there's tax fraud. They go hand in hand. And to give a voice to those who have been exploited, Javier Santizo.
Thank you, Doug. Good morning, everybody. My name is Javier Santizo, and I'm here to tell my story. I was born and raised here in San Diego, California. My dad was an immigrant, so was my mother. And everything that's been talked about today, I experienced at a young age. A lot of people think that just because you're a U.S. citizen, you're not going to experience wage theft, right? I got to travel to different states with my father. My father was a carpenter. And building tract homes, I got to experience my dad and myself sleeping in a garage after a day of work. And we would do this so that we would have and afford enough money to send back home here to San Diego for mom, sister, and brother. And that's my story. And the thing is that our community doesn't understand that wage theft and tax fraud affects us. There's no need for workers to be taken advantage of. And today I stand with everybody here and I ask that my community stand up against tax fraud. And we make sure that we let our working class in San Diego and across our nation from coast to coast understand that there's someone that is willing to fight for them. There's no need for workers to be taken advantage of. I experienced wage theft in the manner that I would work 16 hours a day and I wasn't paid my overtime until I took somebody to court, an entity here in San Diego to court. But there's many workers out there that don't have that same luxury of speaking up. They're afraid of telling someone their experience at work. So on behalf of the Southwest Regional Council of Carpenters, I want to tell everybody that when you see us around, it's okay to speak up. These officials here in San Diego have stepped up, and we are going to do our best to stand up and always continue fighting for the worker. My name is Javier Santizo, and thank you for your time.
Hey, Javi, can you do a little bit of that in Spanish?
Yeah, cómo no. Buenos días, mi nombre es Javier Santizo. Me acaban de pedir que diga un poquito que repita lo que acabo de decir en español. Yo soy nacido y criado aquí en San Diego, California. A una corta edad, a una temprana edad, yo tuve que decidir si iba a seguir en la escuela o iba a seguir a mi papá. Mi papá era carpintero. A mí me tocó experimentar primera mano y ver las injusticias que les pasa a los trabajadores, especialmente en el área de la construcción. Yo seguí a mi papá, trabajamos en los estados de California, Arizona, y nomás para platicarles un poquito en detalle, me tocó experimentar cómo mi papá, después de trabajar 8 horas, nosotros hacíamos un lugar donde quedarnos en las casas nuevas, en los garajes, y vivíamos ahí. ¿Por qué? Porque teníamos que mandar el sustento a la casa. Y estamos aquí para decirle a los trabajadores que la Unión de Carpinteros y los oficiales de sus ciudades, esto está pasando en la nación, aquí en Estados Unidos y en Canadá también. No tengan miedo, acérquense, hablen con nosotros, platíquenos. Hay oficiales en sus comunidades que están dispuestos a pelear por el trabajador. Gracias.
Tax fraud doesn't know borders. It runs across every state in our country. It runs across Canada. This is a problem that it's time we bring to light. It's time that we put a stamp of justice on this for both the workers and the contractors. We're asking everyone, stand up. Understand that you have a voice. Here in San Diego, our elected officials have committed to justice for the workers, justice for our contractors, and justice for our city. The Southwest Carpenters will always be a partner for the working class. We will always be a voice for those who are victims. When you see the union reps on the job, understand we're here to help, and we will get you in contact with the resources that are available. Thank you.